Stuart, good to talk to you today at Carrow Road. So much I want to get through in this interview. We're going to start by looking from a club perspective back on the season, and then a personal level, turning attentions towards you, of course. I know it's been a pretty intense few months and few weeks for you, but right here, right now, the season has drawn to a close. I know you won't have had too long to reflect on it so far, but what are your thoughts on the season as a whole?
I think ultimately it's one of disappointment. You know, our objective was clear, was to try and stay in the Premier League, and we haven't achieved that. So there's no way to dress that up other than ultimately, we've not been good enough, and we've not achieved what we wanted. And I think there's some reasons for that. But ultimately, when reflecting back, it's as simple as that. It's not been good enough, and we need to reflect and dust ourselves down and come back, really. Has
it been a lot more difficult than you thought it would be at the start of the season?
No, we knew the size of the task. The task is huge. The Premier League is very, very unforgiving. So no, we were under no doubt how tough it was going to be. But it's a league where when you're a club like ours, you need everything to go your way. You need everything to go in your favour. You need a perfect pre-season. You need every signing to work. You need some decisions to go your way. You need to play certain teams at the right time, and to be honest, none of that's happened for us. And it's ended up with, ultimately getting relegated comfortably, unfortunately.
You talk about needing a perfect pre-season, and we absolutely did not have that. The trip to Germany was cancelled, wasn't it, at short notice, and then off to Yorkshire. Was it 9 or 11 or something like that, positive cases on arrival? You knew the task in hand with the 4 fixtures that we would have to start the season. With that in mind, how difficult did that make the start of the campaign?
Yeah, I mean, it made the start pretty much impossible because, anyone who's worked in football understands the importance of pre-season. That's why you have it. If it wasn't important, you wouldn't have pre-season. And when we set off to Yorkshire and we arrived there, and pretty much the main squad have got COVID, and we have to turn back and put people in individual cars, and then we turn up at the Newcastle friendly with people playing who hadn't done anything in pre-season. We're on the back foot, and the problem is then in this league, once you get behind the curve, it's very, very hard for a club like ours to catch up. It's a bit different in other leagues because, in the Championship, for example, you can lose 2 games and then you have 3 games next week, you win the 3 of them, and suddenly you're back maybe where you need to be. The Premier League doesn't give you that. And I think off the back of that pre-season and then the start, I got to be honest, I think belief through the whole club, the whole area disappeared. I think the fans give up quickly. The local media went after us quickly, and it became, this is going to be tough to turn this around. And ultimately, we come close a couple of times with results. If we look at the results when Dean first came in, we had that 5-game unbeaten run, and then we had the run in January when we got 7 out of 9, which got us back up in amongst it. But ultimately, we were always playing catch up, and we weren't good enough to catch up enough.
You say there that the fans give up easily. I'd argue perhaps a lot of the fans would feel differently very much at the start of the campaign. So do you think perhaps it's sort of a mindset among the players and Daniel Farkas at the time that, look, we've got Liverpool, Man City, Leicester and Arsenal as our first 4 games? Because I think maybe some fans would have potentially thought, yes, it's going to be tricky, but we've got to believe in ourselves that we can get something from these games. How would you respond to that?
I think everyone believed in it, but ultimately, we didn't do it, and I thought how quickly people went after us was very surprising for me after the season we just had last year. Now, are we incredibly grateful to our supporters who turn up? Yeah, absolutely. We've just sold out season tickets again, which is incredible. When, if you believe some of the stuff you read, you'd think everyone's given up. But did we make this place, Carrow Road, a tough place to come for opposition teams, both on and off the pitch? No, we didn't. We did not. We accepted being average too quickly, and that's something we have to look at. It starts with us, first and foremost, and it probably ends with us.
I want to talk about the money that was spent in the summer, because it was a significant amount of money for Norwich, £50 million, in excess of that. 9 players in all signed, and then Ben Gibson and Dimitri Anulis's loans made permanent. Looking back now, how do you assess the business that was done?
I think it's all right. I think what people have to forget is we have to spread our money over a lot. So it's not 50 million on one player.
Is it spread too thinly though, perhaps?
Yes, absolutely. But they're the rules that we deal with. So we sold a player, our best player, because he made it very, very clear as soon as the season finished, I won't be here next year. So
Emi Buendia.
Emi Buendia. So you're left then with, well, what do we do now? It's about getting maximum value at that point, because we haven't got the capability to give him £100,000 a week to stay and give us one more year. We can't do that. Everyone knows that. So then it was about, well, we've got to try and strengthen the squad as best we can. If we just replace Emi with one player, we wouldn't have been good enough. That's a fact. We haven't got relegated because of one player here. So we have to spread that. And do we spread it too thinly? Yeah, absolutely we did. And again, we have to get the balance. We have to sign players who have future value for us, because the way the club works and our model, and everyone knows about it. We're not embarrassed by it. It's we communicate more than any other club in the country, I believe, in our model, and we talk when things are difficult. We don't just talk when things are great. The model is with us, if we have to have the ability that if things go wrong, we can sell players. If you take the COVID period, this business lost £35 million. That bankrupts most. We don't have anyone to top that up. We survived that by selling Ben Godfrey and Jamal Lewis. And we have to constantly have that in our football club where we've got players. So in terms of spreading it too thinly, yes, because we can't just go and sign 5 30-year-olds to try and stay in the league on the hope that we stay in the league. Because then if it goes wrong, we won't have a football club. And I think that's the challenge.
Given all you've said there then, how do you balance quality over quantity? Because that has got to be pretty important too.
Oh, it's hugely important, and it's the toughest balance. People ask me every day, what's the toughest part of your job? The toughest part of our job is trying to balance off our ambition to be and to sustain ourselves in the Premier League whilst making sure that we still have a football club. Because we can't make mistakes. We make big mistakes. We go bust. We don't just have a bad season and a few people get sacked. The club disappears. And, we've been close in my time here to that. So we have to get that balance right, and we make no apologies for that. If we didn't get that balance right, we could easily just be mid-table in the Championship. We could comfortably do that by not taking any risks, by not taking any chances. Because ultimately, that's probably where we are in the football pecking order. People don't like to hear that, but that's the truth. We've got European Cup winners playing in League One next year. We've been achieving some pretty good things. Are we happy with what we've ultimately achieved? No, because we want to stay in the Premier League. Every single one of us. There's not one person in our football club who doesn't want to achieve that. Because whether it's everyone losing half their salary now, whether it's the fact that we're not playing at Old Trafford anymore, we're going to other stadiums, or whether it's the fact that you're walking around the town as if you killed someone. No one really wants them things. And I'll challenge anyone who goes, oh, people don't care, or it's not important to people. That's just people who don't know.
Yeah. Why have we struggled to kind of bridge that gap then, I guess? Because obviously there is a big jump between the Championship and the Premier League, but it has been evident, and a lot of people have said that we haven't really been able to cut it. Why is that?
I think that's the question we're trying to find the answer to. That's $1 million question. I think first of all, it's people have to appreciate the jump is massive. It's not just a big jump, it's off the scale. Look at, Tottenham's team yesterday. They're pretty much all world class, and then their subs, we play Chelsea here. They can bring on Kante and Lukaku. We brought on Johnny Rowe at the same time. And it was like, the jump is humongous.
But you talked about that as being a win for the club, that you've brought through an academy player. So I guess, is it a different kind of playing field that you're viewing there?
Absolutely. But that's it, there's leagues within leagues. If people want to judge us against Liverpool and Man City, then I suggest they go and have a lie down. We have to, even out of a difficult season, we have to create some positivity out of it internally. If people externally don't want to hear that, that's okay. But internally, we need to ignore that, because otherwise the football club doesn't develop. And I think we see so many clubs in our country who haven't developed for the last 10, 20 years and have become tired, worn out, nothing. We have to take the positive out of that. And there is positives this season. And some people don't want to hear it. And I get that. I absolutely get that. But internally, we have to remember them. And part of that is our productivity within the academy. We're starting today, the next building within the training ground, which will take our training ground into the top 10 in the country, which we're incredibly proud of, because for us, it's about building something which is long going to be after I've been here or any other sort of staff member or player. It's about making sure that we have a healthy football club for the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years, not just the next 10 weeks. And that's something, whilst I've been in my position at the club, I've been passionate about that. I could do things to be purely selfish, to go, let's just try and stay in the league for 1 year. I can then get a better job. I can disappear, and then oh, but behind me I've just left a big mess. I refuse to do that, and I've said that often to the board. If you want that guy, it's not me. It's somebody else, it's not me. Because for me, it's about building a club that in 20, 30, 40 years, the next generation of supporters, the next generation of young people here, I've got somewhere where actually we've got a real thriving club, and we have. The fact is we've just been relegated from the hardest league in the world, along with 2 other teams. That's this game. That's football. We can't get caught up in that. If we get caught up in that, then we need to go and do a different job.
For those that are saying, oh, that's just football, some Norwich fans might not want to hear that. What would be your response to that as well?
I get that. I understand fans being upset about getting relegated. Of course I do. All I can reassure supporters is this football club from the top to the bottom are devastated with getting relegated. Absolutely devastated. And are desperate to keep this club in the Premier League. That's what we talk about all day, every day. How do we strive in the Premier League? How do we strive in the Premier League? But also we need people to understand the constraints that we work in. The league that we're going up against. History tells you that unfortunately the teams coming up normally struggle, and people will always look at look at this club, look at that club. They normally get relegated the next season because they've gone all in on one year and then their club's not as healthy 2-3 years down the line, and that's the gamble that personally I'm not willing to take, just to get a load of happy people for 1 year and then 2 years later you're being chased out of town.
Yeah, I guess not taking that gamble and not taking the risks is key in the longer term sustainability of the club. This season, I guess looking at the likes of Brentford and how well they've done, do you think that's made our job more difficult with competing at this level?
No, because it was the same 2 years ago with Sheffield United, it was the same 2 years before that with Huddersfield. You can stay up. We could have stayed up. We could point at 100 instances this year and go, we could have won that game, we could have won that game, and we could have scraped over the line, and there'd probably be an open top bus to parade today and you wouldn't be talking to me. But then it's what happens the year after to them clubs. Fair play to Brentford, and I'm sure they'll go on and do great things. They're a fantastic club. But the others haven't. And if you ask the people there, are you better off than before? They'd go, no. We had some nice memories and we had a nice night out on the drink with the supporters because we stayed up, but actually our club hasn't developed. Whereas I can sit here and proudly say, well, no. Has it gone right on the pitch this season as we want? Absolutely not. I'm not going to dress that up. Have we achieved a hell of a lot off it again? Yes. Is this club, I've been here 5 years now. This club looks incredibly different to 5 years ago. And whatever happens, I'll be incredibly proud of that.
So do you feel expectations need to be lowered slightly then?
No, I think they need to be hired. But I think everyone needs to look at themselves to hire that. I think we want expectations to be higher. We want to try and build ourselves into being a bigger club than what we currently are. And for that come big expectations. But then I want everything to match that.
But you know how much Norwich fans care about the club, don't you? You
Absolutely.
understand that?
No, and respect for that. Listen, our fans are fantastic. Like I say, everyone's focusing on the 20 with a bed sheet. I've had a lot more positivity than I have negativity, as have the players, and the fans turn up in their numbers. It's incredible. We went to Leicester away on a midweek, when we've already relegated. There's 1,200 fans there, and they're fantastic. They're brilliant. And the area is brilliant. The people are brilliant. But we all need more from each other. This can't just be one thing. This can't be just me or just one player or just a coach or just one supporter. It's a collective, and I include the whole area in that. It's like, come on, let's believe we can do this. Let's stick together and let's sort of drive it forward.
Yeah, togetherness key. And we're going to touch a little bit more on some sort of comments you've made over recent weeks. But I want to rewind a little bit to the season, November time, big decision to make a change with the sacking of Daniel Farkas. I just wonder why you felt the timing was right, given it was the first win of the season away at Brentford, and then you make that decision. How did that all come about?
Yeah, first of all, nothing ever changes by staying the same. So if we're going to keep doing the same things, we'll keep getting the same results. And ultimately, everyone knows my relationship with Daniel, and how close we are. And anyone who knows me, and that's knew what an incredibly difficult decision that was. However, when I looked at the record over 49 Premier League games, it was obvious that if we didn't change something, we'd give ourselves no chance of staying up. Now, ultimately, we didn't stay up, so people can go, oh, it was the wrong decision. Cool, if that's what people think, I'm okay with that. But also, part of the decision was looking beyond just this season. It was looking beyond, okay, if the worst thing happens this year, can we get back up and can we be better next time in the Premier League? And that's the reason I made the decision. Obviously, it was made long before the game. Daniel didn't know. It was an incredibly tight group of people knew. The only person who knew was myself and the board until after the game. And when I told Daniel, he was the first person to know, other than, like I say, myself and the board. So, tough call. I'm glad, in hindsight, we did it after a win, because it gave Daniel his last moment with the fans, which he deserved. It was horrific listening to and watching some of the comments that people were making about Daniel for what he'd done for this football club. So I'm glad it ended in a way where he could have that final moment. I'm glad it ended in a way where people, why do you do it that night? Well, the reason we did it that night was it was international break. So everyone was flying off the next morning to play for their countries. It gave Daniel the opportunity to address the staff and players back at Colney and have that opportunity. You know, can't come back in 3 weeks later and do that. It just doesn't. That's not how life works. You lose your job, you leave. You can't just keep popping back in. So I'm glad we did it that way in the end. But it was an incredibly tough period, because you know what Daniel had done here, what we'd built together, the ups, the downs we'd been through. You know, it's like hurting a family member, and it wasn't an easy decision.
Okay, I want to talk about the reasons why you feel perhaps you've come under scrutiny with some of the comments you've made this season. You did a recent interview with The Times with Henry Winter, didn't you? A few of your comments were picked out and highlighted and created a fair amount of discussion. Is there anything you want to clarify from what you said to Henry in that interview?
I think, first of all, the interview was about my personal life. I'm allowed one. Like everyone who comes to watch football is allowed their personal life. As always, some words are taken out of context. I understand that. That's people's prerogative. I think, for me, one of the areas which was taken out of context was people suddenly thought I'm not committed to the club.
So you said, if 90% of me isn't enough, it's fine, because I'm already ready to walk out the door. I'm ready for the next stage of my life. But obviously Delia and Michael wanted you to stay. It was very much that 90%, wasn't it, that became the talking point. Can you understand why, though? Do you think maybe, I mean, you're very open, you're very honest. Does that sometimes go against you?
Oh, 100%, yeah. People in my job don't talk. They don't talk.
Would you ever think of changing your approach then, or are you just want to be you?
No, I'm authentic. And I got to be honest, Alice, if people like that, great. If they don't, I don't care either, because I'm not here in the world to just appease people. It does my head in about this industry that people just want to be popular with people they don't even know. It's like, no, be popular with your family, your friends, and your peers. And through this period, that's what's been most important to me, is people within the game, people who have sat in my chair and done the jobs, the support from them has been incredible, because it's like, oh, finally someone's speaking out. Because I think what people really want me to say is, you know what, I don't sleep at night, all I do is work. Now, the reality is, my commitment has always been 100%. The difference is, I've asked, if you want me to stay, can I maybe have 10% of my life back where I can do something for me? So rather than going on holiday this summer with my family, I'm doing something else, but I'm doing it for me. So my family's making a sacrifice there, much bigger than the football club. Because I'll be there on my phone, I just won't be there to see my child's sports day. I won't be there for my wedding anniversary, because I'm doing something for me for the first time in 38 years. If people aren't happy with that, I genuinely don't care. And I'm not going to apologise for that. Because I've given everything to the football club. Until the day I leave, I'll continue to do that.
And that is all around, with your training for Mount Everest, that is around your day job as opposed to being in it, isn't it? I know you talk about you get up really early or you'll train in the evening. So I guess that's important to factor into it when you say about the 90%. But with your training, how do you separate the two, I guess?
Yeah, I train before work. So come to Colney at 5 a.m, you'll see me in the gym. If people think I should be working that time, well, best of luck to them.
Yeah, and you want to be transparent and open and honest, as you are always, Stuart. You clearly care passionately, because also further down in that interview with Henry Winter, you said, what I'm obsessed about is, are we constantly making the club better? Are we in a good financial state? Growing the academy, the training ground, the community project, which I know you've talked a lot about. So the use of the word obsessed certainly implies to me that you care a heck of a lot.
Listen, that's the people who work with me know. And that's all that matters to me. It's the people I work with that matter. The players, the staff, the people every day we've been driving this football club forward as the best we can. You know, this club deserves to be the best version of what it can be. Do I think we've achieved that so far? Yeah, I actually do. I actually look at what we've grown here and go, yeah, we should be pretty proud of that. And I'm not embarrassed to say, yeah, we are proud of what we've built here. And I'm not going to change my opinion on that because we've had a bad season in the toughest league in the world. I want this to be a club that I can come back to with my son in 20 years and maybe his kids and go, oh, look at this place now. It's amazing. You know, we're in the Champions League every year. That's genuinely what I'd want.
Let's look ahead to what will no doubt be a very busy summer. Of course, you know, players returning from loans, loanees going back to their parent clubs. I know in January you talked openly about the fact we wouldn't have money to spend, but will you be backing Dean Smith with finances in this transfer window and pre-season so he can mould his side looking ahead towards the Championship?
We don't have a lot of money, but we have the ability to do a couple of things, and then it might depend on what happens with outs. Because as always, you know, when you go into a summer after being relegated, there's uncertainty. Will some Premier League clubs want some of our players? They'll all want to stay in the Premier League. That's, you know, obvious. If we sold one or two, that would, you know, help us to do other things. But we'll be doing some bits of business. I think what we have to understand as well, Championship-wise, we have a very strong, both in terms of quality and depth, squad. You know, you alluded to, you know, Sam McCallum, Jordan Hugill, Onel Hernandez, potentially Daniel Sonani, Todd. You know, of all five have had, Todd less so, but the other four have had really good seasons in the Championship. So, you know, playing at the top end of it in general as well. So I think it's not a squad by Championship standards. You know, there's not massively gaping holes, but there is some areas we need to strengthen that we've identified, and we're already, of course, talking to players around that. And I think it's also important that we can get a couple of players in that become Dean's players then. You know, he's inherited a squad that, you know, Daniel and I built over 4.5 years. You know, how Dean wants to do it and what we want to support Dean in doing is slightly different, or else we may as well have not made the change. So it's important we bring a couple of other personnel into that. I think also, let's not forget the emergence of Johnny Rowe and Tony Springett. You know, it's no different to when people like Max Aarons, Todd, Madison, people like that, Ben Godfrey popped up. You know, they become new signings as well. I know they're not as exciting for people because, you know, there's not a big newspaper headline with a picture of a scarf and whatever, but they are new additions to the squad, and that always brings a bit more excitement as well. And
Adam Eder and Andrew Omobamidele, big prospects as well. Their injuries certainly hampered this season, didn't they? How excited are you though to see them back in action next season in the Championship?
Yeah, they're vital for us. You know, it hurt us a lot because when we look at the Premier League, it's a very physical, athletic league, and both of them have got them qualities. And you know, Adam especially in that 3-game period, including West Ham 4 when we did it right there, he was a big part of that, and then gets injured.
And Smith had found that formula, hadn't he, with two up front alongside Pukki.
So exactly, you know, and then it was difficult after Adam went. I'm not saying we got relegated because Adam got injured, because that'd be a lot of pressure to put on his shoulders, but it certainly changed the sort of dynamic. So having him and Andrew back is super exciting because they're both top talents. Of course, they've both got a lot of work to do, like, you know, the other young players that have come through here over recent times. But they're exciting for us, and they're a product of the work that we do every day. It's not a fluke that we keep producing these players. That's not luck, and we're proud of that. And you know, as we've talked about before, if you can't buy superstars, we have to try and create our own, and that's what we keep trying to do.
Absolutely. What's your relationship like with Dean Smith and Craig Shakespeare? I know Dean Smith has shown that he can very much cut it in the Championship as well, having a sealed promotion with his boyhood club. How is your relationship with them?
Yeah, good. I mean, you know, we're still obviously at the early sort of stages of it, really. Incredibly difficult time for Dean to come in, you know, because he's been trying to find the formula constantly, you know, since he's come in, and we've had a period over Christmas with illness and COVID and that, just as we were finding some rhythm, then we get into the rhythm, and then we get the injury again to Adam. So it's sort of been a bit sort of stop-start for Dean. you know, after what's been a difficult season for him personally, you know, losing his job at his boyhood club, you know, it's been a long season for him. So he's looking forward to a break, and a well-deserved break, to then come back in pre-season and be able to mould his Norwich team, and you know, we can now build as we go into the future and almost the next phase of what we're trying to do, with Dean really able to put his stamp on it, which is a lot easier when you start from 0 points as opposed to coming in trying to play catch up, and trying to find a formula, trying to get to know the players. You know, it's very difficult mid-season for managers to come in, and I respect that. So yeah, super excited to see, you know, how we get on next season.
Yeah, you say super excited, and there is no getting away from the fact it's been an incredibly difficult season, a disappointing season, but what can we look forward to moving forward?
I think a club that's continually growing. You know, there'll be some announcements in the next 2-3 weeks which will probably surprise some people, and excite people that, okay, no, this, you know, while, you know, the flack's been coming our way, we've been cracking on growing the football club, which is our objective. You know, we're going back into a level where we know we can be successful. We've got a good squad. We've got a proven manager. We've got a, you know, a really good environment. We've got, you know, sold out season tickets. You know, Sakara Road, first day of next season or first home game, you know, be full again. And yeah, it's a chance to get that excitement back. And you know, as I keep saying, this club's going to be here forever. So part of football is the ups and downs, unfortunately. And all I'd ask is that, you know, people get right behind the club, Dean, and the players again, because, you know, then we can be in for an exciting season, and, you know, all our dreams and hopes come back alive sort of quite quickly. And I think it's just remembering that, you know, that's what football is ultimately about.
Yeah, how important is that togetherness?
Oh, it's vital. It's vital. You know, you look at anything that's successful, it happens when people are together. It doesn't happen when it's fractured. It works when everyone's tight and they're all together. And I think we are. I do believe a lot's been making out of 20 people with a bed sheet. You know, I think season ticket sales tell you that. Because if you're not that happy, you don't renew your season ticket when, by the way, the price has just gone up. It's the easiest get out ever if you weren't happy.
That shows the commitment to the fan base, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Or from the fan base.
Exactly. You know, we haven't got a squad of players who are all sat there demanding to leave. We haven't got a manager who's sulking and wants to, you know, move or whatever like that. So I think the togetherness is much more than probably what we actually get sort of credit for. You know, I think even at the end of the game against Spurs, you know, the majority stayed and applauded the team off. Because I think one thing as well, the majority of supporters respect that everyone's trying their hardest here. They're not trying to get relegated. We're not trying to lose against Tottenham and Liverpool and these teams. We're trying to win. So I generally think that togetherness, I think you see that if you are out and about in the community. You know, like I said, there's much more Norwich fans come up to you being ultra positive and appreciating that the club's actually in a really healthy state than not. Of course, would every single one of them rather be winning the Premier League? Yeah, but so would we all. You'd rather be doing this interview off the back of us having won the Premier League and get relegated. I'd rather be doing it having done that. And so we all want the same things. And, you know, but I think at the heart of it, we've got players who care about the club. We've got staff who care about the club. We've got fans who care about the club. And we're fortunate because that's probably not the case everywhere. You know, we've got owners who care about the club. You know, some clubs don't see their owners, you know. You know, we've got a lot going for us as well. You know, so if we're going to focus our lives on what's gone wrong, that will be quite depressing. So let's focus ourselves on what's gone right, and let's make sure that we learn from what's gone wrong collectively, and be better at it next time. That's all we can do.
I know you've spoken before about the fact you don't really watch the news, you don't read the papers, but there was no getting away from this season that some people, even national media at times, said that Norwich aren't even really trying at the top level. Does that hurt you or does it motivate you?
Some of the national media at the start of the season went after us, we haven't had a go. That was a lie. Now, maybe their standard of having a go to ours is different, fine, but by our standards, we'd had a go. You know, some of the local stuff recently, you know, I don't read it, but some of the stuff has been flagged up to me because it's been quite personal. You know, some of that is lies.
Is that difficult for you not to then get involved with, or do you just try and take a step back from that situation?
No, I have to take a step back. But the fact is, you know, it is what it is. We have to do what we can to ignore it. You know, I had a conversation with Eddie Jones, who's the head coach of England Rugby, about this, and he said that, he goes, we just lost the World Cup final with Australia in 2003, and he says, and then I lost my job 2 years later, and he says, I was walking around as if I'd murdered someone. People were walking across the street, and I think, that's just not right, but that's how it's almost felt. You know, I felt in recent weeks almost like have I killed someone and not realised it, and I don't think that's right either. You know, I think we all passionately love this sport. We all want to win.
We'll wrap it up soonish, but you said on your Summit podcast, which I listened to recently, that you always feel a sense of responsibility if you feel that you've let anyone down. You know how much the club means to the fans. We've covered a lot of ground, but a final thought from you, what would be your overriding message to Norwich City fans right here, right now, looking ahead and not looking back?
The most important thing, Alice, is it's their club. Football only exists for communities. But it wouldn't, you know, we saw the stuff with the Super League, you know, the thought of Norwich playing Tottenham in Shanghai or something, you know, I think makes all of our stomachs churn of, oh, that doesn't feel right. So football's here for the communities, whether that's our community here, whether that's the community in Manchester for their clubs, you know, whether that's the community in Ipswich for their club. We're here for communities, and it's a sport, and it's entertainment, and it needs to be here for generations. The best thing I ever see on a match day is when I see a granddad with a daughter and a son, and you see the generations coming to the game, because that's what football's about. It's why I love sport. I love going to sport with my son and my wife, and us sitting there as a family connected with a common interest of what we're watching on the pitch or a Formula One track or whatever we're watching. So I think what's important is people keep that at their heart. They remember to stick with their club because it's their club. So people like myself, owners, players, we come and go. We're just part of the journey. We're part of the journey. That's why you see, you know, every match day, ex-staff, ex-players, ex-directors walking around, still coming to games and chatting away. We're just part of that. So by all means, I'd never sit here and go, get behind us. But get behind your 11 players on the pitch and stick with the club, which they are. Because that's going to be here forever, and that's important that everyone's got a responsibility for that. Whether you are the fan of today, you've got a response to leave our fan base in a better place for the supporter tomorrow. Whether you're me, it's my job to leave the club in the best place I can for the next sporting director. Whether it's the owners, for the next owner, for the current captain, for the next captain, because we hand it on. You know, I hand my office on to someone. The captain hands his shirt and armband on to somebody. The owners hand it on, and the key is every day it's about that. And like I say, I think it's the same for the supporters. There'll be supporters this year who won't come to the game with their mum and dad anymore because they've probably lost them. And it's like, keep that legacy going for them. Let's not become that club which is fractured and disenchanted because of a tiny minority.
That's a good way to end it on. Thank you so much, Stuart, as always, for your openness and for your honesty. Another huge season ahead. All the best for it. Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you.